With me now is Congressman Tim Ryan, Democrat from Ohio. And Congressman Ryan, I hesitate to put you in a progressive, pragmatic, whatever camp. So I'm just going to simply ask you, where are you on Amazon? You wrote a letter saying you'd bring them there. Where are you on the idea of tax break incentives to lure jobs to a community?
I think the current race to the bottom that states and communities are forced really into doing is disgusting. It erodes the local tax base. It does hurt the communities in a lot of ways. And as I said, it's a race to the bottom. So I do think that all of us should come together and try to stop that. There should be federal legislation to stop this race to the bottom. But having said that, I come from a community that needs jobs, needs work. We need higher wages. We need private sector investment. And so while you can be for a progressive tax code, which I'm for, you could be for trying to end the concentration of wealth that is devastating our economy and our middle class, which I'm for. You saw the study where 400 people in the country have more wealth than the bottom 150 million. That's obnoxious. But at the same time, we need to work with the private sector, and we can't be divided from them to the extent where they won't invest in communities like Youngstown, Ohio, where we need the work.
I want to show you Elizabeth Warren's tweet about this decision. And she said, one of the wealthiest companies on the planet just walked away from billions in taxpayer bribes, all because some elected officials in New York aren't sucking up to them enough. How long will we allow giant corporations to hold our democracy hostage? But for what it's worth, there was a poll of New York Democrats, a majority of New York Democrats, not just all New Yorkers, New York Democrats, 56% supported the move to New York. Is this a case where maybe the voters aren't having their say in this decision before perhaps politicians get in the way?
It could be. I don't know the intimate details or the dynamics of what's going on in New York. What I do know is that, I would love to have Amazon's HQ2 located in Northeast Ohio. And we have a lot to offer them between Cleveland and Pittsburgh and Akron and Youngstown, 4 airports, a great workforce. We just lost the General Motors factory, Chuck. There was almost 2,000 of the best paying jobs in our community. So I'm going to aggressively pursue getting them in our community. And I think it would be a signal for them to say, look, we need a more conscious capitalism. We need a more fair capitalism that actually cuts workers in on the deal, cuts communities in on the deal, like companies like Patagonia and Unilever and Southwest, where it's not just about shareholders, it's about stakeholders. And we need more of that. And this could be an opportunity for Amazon to take the lead. But I will tell you, I will be at events this weekend in my community, and I will guarantee you I will have 50 to 100 people come up to me and saying, do you think we really have a shot at getting Amazon? Because we need the work.
I noticed you used the word capitalism a few times there. As you know, there's this rising democratic socialism movement inside the Democratic Party. Where do you stand on it? And obviously you are a capitalist. You've said it a few times. What is the line to you? And are you at all concerned that the socialism is creeping too close to the mainstream of the party?
Well, I think we're at the point again where probably Franklin Roosevelt was, where we need to save capitalism from itself. This concentration of wealth cannot be tolerated any longer. We have 45% of the people in the country can't even withstand a $400 emergency, can't afford health care, losing their pensions. This is a real problem. So I think what people in New York are saying, I sympathize with what they're saying. The economy is broken and we need to fix it. And it's going to take Democrats to do that. But we also need the free enterprise system. I mean, if we're gonna try to compete with China, if we're gonna try to innovate our way to reduce carbon in the United States, we need the innovation and the entrepreneurship of the free market and the free enterprise system. And we can't be hostile to business. We can be hostile to greed. We can be hostile to inequality. And I will join with my Democratic colleagues in trying to fix that. I'll be the first one at the table willing to do that. But we also can't be divided. The big enemy in our country right now is division. And we've got to come together. We've got China breathing down our throats. We got income inequality. We're falling behind in education. The food system's broke. The healthcare system's broke. We got big problems. We got to come together, and part of that is partnering with the free enterprise system in a more conscious way where workers are cut in on the deal.
Congressman Ryan, that sounded like the end of a stump speech in Iowa. I say this, are you running? I know, it was a pretty good wind-up, but I mean it as a compliment. Are you running for something more than re-election?
I have not made a decision on that, but these issues that we just talked about deeply concern me. I'm concerned for the country. I'm concerned about our competitiveness as a country, concerned about climate, concerned about health care. I'm worried. And so I'm strongly considering it, and I will continue to strongly consider it. And I'll keep you posted, Chuck. Well,
I'd appreciate it. As you know, we got 20 spots on the debate stage. We're looking forward to filling it. Congressman Tim Ryan, Democrat from Ohio. Thank you very much. Hello, YouTubers. If you're watching this, it means you've checked out our channel, so thank you. Now do me a favor, subscribe by clicking on that button down there. Click on any of the videos to watch the latest interviews and highlights from MTP Daily and MSNBC. You can get more Beat the Press content every morning in the First Read newsletter. If you're tired of content that you don't know anything about where it came from, you don't have to have that problem with us. NBC News, MSNBC, MTP, and the Meet the Press mindset right here for you on YouTube. Subscribe now.